Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. This weekend here at Busch Stadium in Ballpark Village, it is Hall of Fame weekend. Many of those Hall of Famers from the National Baseball Hall of Fame and the Cardinals Hall of Fame back in town. To honor Pepper Martin, Mark McGwire, and Tim McCarver, all officially inducted earlier this afternoon. There's baseball, though, to be played tonight, and it's the Tampa Bay Rays and the St. Louis Cardinals. And what a scene it was at Ballpark Village. And along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and Jim Hayes is here as well. What a remarkable afternoon it was for the Cardinals Hall of Fame.
So much energy over at Ballpark Village. All three guys certainly deserving. Pepper Martin, a star for some World Series championship teams. Tim McCarver, terrific player and broadcaster. And, of course, Big Mac, many thrills from him.
So congratulations to the family of Pepper Martin, Mark McGwire, and Tim McCarver. A special ceremony taking place here tonight. Just like you see on opening day or some of the very historic milestones in the game of baseball concerning the Cardinals, they will honor those that have contributed to that as they go around. One time, they get the car, they get to sit in the back, and they get the adulation.
That's a pretty nice feeling, wouldn't it be? Just to be able to do, well, they deserved it. All three of those guys certainly did. Pepper Martin, of course, has passed and was a star in the 30s mostly and into the 40s. But to have Tim McCarver and Big Mac acknowledged here at the ballpark in front of a full house, it's filling up today. And also having everybody else on hand, the other Cardinal Hall of Famers, and Willie McGee and Chris Carpenter and Ozzie Smith. You know, it's great to have them back for this ceremony too. So it's not only, Dan, the induction ceremony, which by the way you did a terrific job with.
Thank you.
But it's also having a red Shane Dienst in the ballpark again, wearing that red jacket.
Playing the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him to the Cardinals Hall of Fame, Tim McCarver.
My enduring thanks to the DeWitts, my many friends along the way, and to you, everybody here today, and everybody that will be in the ballpark tonight, and your staggering loyalty. It's your encouragement and support that makes us continue to want to come back for more and more and more. Thank you.
Our final inductee of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Cardinals Hall of Famer, Big Mac, Mark McGwire.
To think in 1997, a Southern California kid had no idea he was going to spend the greatest 4.5 years of his life with you all. I am humbled, I am honored, and I will wear this jacket with so much pride. Thank you very, very much.
How about one more hand for all three of today's inductees?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cardinals organization is second to none in terms of history and tradition. You just watched highlights from earlier today of our annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony from Fox Live at Ballpark Village. A special thanks to Edward Jones for sponsoring our Hall of Fame activities. And with us tonight from Edward Jones is Anthony McBride, principal, along with his wife and 2 children. In addition to the incredible baseball talent and leadership that wear the red Hall of Fame jackets, this organization has the same Hall of Fame leadership in the front office. Joining us on the field, please welcome Cardinals Chairman of the Board, Mr. Bill DeWitt Jr., Team President Bill DeWitt III, Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, and Cardinals manager, Mike Matheny. The three individuals inducted today represent the best the Cardinals organization has to offer, both on and off the field. They join elite company in a group of men that have defined the tradition of Cardinals baseball. Please welcome to the field our St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Famers. Welcome back, last year's inductee, Chris Carpenter. '15 induction class inductee, Ted Simmons. And our inaugural class in 2014, Mike Shannon. Jim Edmonds. Willie McGee. Both Major League Baseball and Cardinals Hall of Famers, Ozzie Smith. Red Schoendienst. Bob Gibson. And Tony La Russa. Now please welcome, entering the field in their 2017 Mustang convertibles, our 2017 St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame induction class. Representing Pepper Martin, Jenny Martin Weathersby, and Alice Martin Eckel. Tim McCarver.
You can walk straight through hell with a smile. You could be the hero, you get the gold. Breaking over records they thought never could be broke. Do it for your people, do it for your pride. Are you ever gonna know if you never even try? Do it for your country, do it for your name. Cause there's gonna be a day when you're standing in the Hall of Fame. And the world's gonna know your name.
And Mark McGwire.
Cardinals ceremony continues. Wonderful to see it. First pitch between the Rays and the Cardinals coming up on Fox Sports Midwest.
Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be preachers, yeah. Be believers, be leaders.
McAdoo. Nice going, brother.
By Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest lasting full-size pickups on the road. Find yours at your local Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Baseball royalty here in St. Louis. Mentioned that this is a players weekend. Nicknames on the back of the jerseys. Sergio Romo delivers the Rays lineup.
Hey everyone, your starting lineup for today's Tampa Bay Rays here in St. Louis. You started off with one of the nicest, most sweetest, most coolest outlaws I've ever met. We got Kevin, the Outlaw Kiermaier, number 39, playing center field. And yesterday the league gave us the opportunity to activate the Sousbot. He's back in the lineup today. Number 20, Steven, the Sousbot Souza Jr. He'd be playing right field for us, batting second. Then we got our captain, our leader, number 3, Evan Longoria, playing third base for us. Behind him, we got one of the quietest, most coolest, most sincere dudes in the league. We got Lucas, the dude, Duda, number 21, playing first base for us. Behind him and behind the plate, we got number 40, El Buffalo, Wilson Ramos. Behind him, batting sixth, Corey Dickerson, number 10. Okay. Batting seventh, Adeni, La Pantera Echeverria with number 11 on his back. He'll be batting seventh for us. Behind him, we have the Rat, number 13, B-Rad, the Rat Miller, batting eighth for us. Behind him, on the mound for us, batting ninth, we have number 4, Blake Zilla Snell. Here we go, and that's your lineup for today's Tampa Bay Rays.
Thank you, Sergio. Sergio from Sergio Romo to tonight's starter for the Cardinals, Mike Leake.
I want to do lineups that way every night. That's just been fun for me. Mike Leake hopes he has fun here tonight against the Rays. He's had one appearance against him. It was a long time ago, but what he remembers is the last 3 appearances, Dan, where he's given up 28 hits in just 9 innings of work in his last 3 starts. So Mike Matheny hoping for more from Mike Leake. The starting staff for the Cardinals has to step up now.
So look at Kevin Cash, third-year manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. But the Rays, they come in here and see a ceremony like that. It's got to blow you away. Hyundai pitch arsenal on the right-hander Mike Leake.
There's the pitch selection, the sinker, cutter, slider, change, curve, and he's really looking for a combination of all of those things to work together. It's start number 26 for Leake. He leads the National League, unfortunately, with 12 losses, but I think he's pitched better than that, but certainly not lately, and he's got to refine that form that he had the first 2 months of the season.
The outlaw Kevin Kiermaier leads it off. He's hitting .269, 10 home runs, and he's driven in 28. In a way, he also, with Longoria, kind of becoming the face of this Tampa Bay lineup and franchise.
Probably the next face.
And the first pitch to him is taken for a strike. Well, you mentioned all the numbers, Ricky, of Mike Leake and the struggles. What are you seeing with him?
Well, he's in the middle of the plate too much. It's not that he's walking a lot of batters, probably a few more than he did early on, but too many pitches that are mistakes. He has to avoid the mistakes that are hittable. He's not an overpowering guy. He just needs his mix to complement. One pitch has to complement the next, and when he's struggling, he's lost a little bit, and he hasn't quite figured out how to get that plan B working. Command is so important for him.
Mark Carlson is the home plate umpire, and you could say that a home plate umpire would be big with any pitcher, but in particular a guy like Mike Leake.
No question. I think more important for Mike Leake than any other pitcher on the Cardinals staff to have a big zone.
Little grounder that's tapped foul. I would assume the Cardinal players never get sick of seeing it either. The Red Jackets rolling through the clubhouse.
Well, it's the shoulders they're standing on, and the reason they're 40,000 plus every night here at the ballpark is not just because of what they're doing, and that's a big part of it. You've got to keep it going, but it's because of what people did before you.
The 1-2 is skied into center field. Tommy Pham there tonight, and he makes the catch for the first out. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Grichuk, Pham, Piscotty in the outfield. Jerko, DeYoung, Wong and Carpenter on the infield, and Yadi behind the plate. I would say it's a lock. Yadier Molina is a future Cardinals Hall of Famer, along with Adam Wainwright. Bet the house on that.
Be nice if somehow that could be managed to happen at the same time.
Good point. Steven Souza Jr. Two of the best for the last decade plus.
Yadi just keeps on moving, and of course Adams resting now with hopes of returning this year at some point, a couple weeks down the road, and hopes that he can get the velocity back on all of his pitches. You know, he's saying the other day, he was telling Jim Hayes, it's not the fastball velocity he's worried about, but he has to be able to throw the harder curve, the one that snaps. And then he can get by with the fastball, but the curve has to be there.
As of yesterday, he had not picked up a baseball, so still waiting to let that settle a little bit. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Great to have him on the broadcast the other night. We'll have Tim McCarver and Mark McGuire at some point tonight. We're hoping the 3rd and the 5th innings. The 2-2. Got him. A strikeout for Mike Leake. Good start here.
Pulled the string a little bit on that one and took just a few miles an hour and off on it to get him out in front just a tad. There's the sinking delivery, the changeup, 85. And it wasn't just the speed of it. It had the good late movement down and in. He swung over top of it. You know, it'd be nice, Dan, for the Cardinals to just put everything together for a stretch. We've seen them do it. They did it actually this month in August, where they had that nice stretch. And I know we're asking maybe for a miracle in some sense, but wouldn't it be great to kick that off on a day where you're celebrating your Cardinal Hall of Famer?
Evan Longoria is starting to heat it up. 7 for his last 18, pair of doubles and a triple. His previous 17 games was well below 200. There's a 2-out base hit. A nemesis for Mike Leake is digging in, and that's Lucas Duda.
7 for 9 against Mike Leake with 2 home runs. So this is not small sample size. This is a guy that's comfortable with the pitcher, so he was not in the lineup yesterday, but careful with him today. You keep saying tonight, Dan. It doesn't feel like night yet. It is the night game, but sure doesn't feel like it.
But the weather here in August, too.
Oh, incredible.
That pitch down in the zone, swung on and missed by Lucas Duda, longtime Met. He is 2 for his last 23. Both those hits have been homers. Picked up at the trade deadline from the Mets.
He's literally been all or nothing lately. 2 for his last 23. And you'd say that all or nothing is a way that you might define baseball this year. There's a lot of strikeouts and a lot of home runs in the game.
It defines the lineup of the Rays just about every night.
They had a game that was over 4 hours. I was told by Tom Foley, their bench coach, and I'm trying to recall the time. Over 4 hours, that was a 3-2 game.
In the air out to center. Pham going back. Track. Wall gone. 2-run homer. Lucas Duda. 2-0 Tampa Bay.
Off the bat, Dan, I thought that was an F8, and I think so did Tommy Pham in center. I didn't think he squared it up perfectly. It's a little bit off the end of the bat, and that's, I think, what I heard and saw, and certainly thought it would be a long drive, but that's the power of Lucas Duda. Next thing I did is I checked up at the flag, but it wasn't the flag. It's not the wind blowing. It's just Duda's power.
Here's Wilson Ramos, the catcher, batting .250. Now it's 2-0 Tampa Bay after Leake had gotten the first 2. Pham will make the catch. 2-run homer by Lucas Duda. Half inning in the books. Rays on top.
Is Carp, aka the river fish. Batting second, the fantastic T Pham in center field. Batting third, me, Paulie D, even though it's not on my jersey. Shout out to DJ Paulie D with Jersey Shore. Batting fifth, the GOAT, Yadier Molina, aka Yadi. Batting sixth at third base, Jed the Jerk, aka Jerko. Batting seventh, the right fielder Momo, Stephen Piscotty. Batting eighth, my double play partner, Colton Wonger. And batting ninth, pitching is Sparky, Mike Leake. Go Cards.
Thank you, Paul DeYoung. I'll say this, he was pretty solid, very smooth. However, he did forget Randall Grichuk. I'm just saying.
It happens.
It happens.
As you and I know very well. But
oh,
you know why I like this lineup? Because I think you get to see players with their personality, and that's what this weekend's all about, frankly, is the nicknames on the back, the patches on the sleeves. As we look at Blake Snell, the young lefty, very talented former first-round pick for the Rays, who will be a handful here because he's on an uptick. Last 2 games he's been very tough, but I just like the personality of the players coming out.
That's the whole point. So Matt Carpenter at the top of the lineup. By the way, Dexter Fowler was sent home sick in case he is contagious, dealing with a stomach issue. That's what Carpenter dealt with earlier in the week. .245, 16 home runs. He's driven in 60. Blake Snell also with the nickname Zilla. Snell's Twitter handle is @SnellZilla. So this is a play off of that. Tribute patch to his father Dave. He said helped him get to where he's at, the major leagues. Here's a 1-2 pitch. And a fly ball lifted into shallow right center. Kiermaier racing in and makes the catch.
Well, get used to seeing that. If you missed the game yesterday, Kiermaier's going to catch everything hit anywhere within, let's just call it the ballpark. I mean, he has terrific range, and he wants every baseball. And with the arm he has, the speed and the hands and the 2 gold gloves, I can see why.
Here's Tommy Pham. .303, the 16 home runs. He's driven in 53.
So a little more about Zilla. He throws mid to high 90s, and he has a 4-pitch repertoire. First 15 starts of this season, he went winless. First time that's happened to a major league pitcher since Marco Estrada in 2012. So not a good start for him. He was up in the big leagues a season ago. He was their best rookie, in fact, last year. And he went to AAA, didn't like that, so wanted to get back here. He went 5-0 in AAA. They brought him back up. But he has won his last 2 starts. He's figured out how to establish the fastball and then make the curveball work off of that fastball.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Talking about Kevin Kiermaier. Now he has spent 109 games on the DL over the last 2 years. He was on the 60-day DL earlier this season, but still leads all center fielders in defensive runs saved with 38. That's the kind of difference maker that he is. You spend all that time on the DL and still make that kind of impact with your glove. Here's a grounder left side. Longoria, 2 away. Take a look at our Toyota keys to the game, and a couple of starters going different directions.
Yeah, we've mentioned the trends already. Blake in his last 4 starts, or I guess I should say Zilla, 2-0, 3.09 ERA. That's a season low for him. On the other side, Mike Leake has struggled his last 4 starts, and that's been a season high, 10.31 in the last 4 starts, and his ERA has gone up over 4 in a season where he was under 2 at the beginning.
Well done, Rico.
Thank you, Danny Mac.
And here's Paul DeYoung at the plate. So these weekend jerseys will be auctioned off. 100% of net proceeds donated to the Youth Development Foundation. It's a joint effort between the Players Association and MLB. Initial commitment of $30 million focused on really improving the availability of amateur baseball and softball across the U.S. and Canada.
Terrific.
I don't know about you, but just watching Zilla here early on, looks like he's got pretty good stuff.
Yeah, he throws hard, and an interesting fact about him is the only player in Major League history since 1913, when they've kept these records, that hasn't hit about him in the first 38 starts of a season. He never pitches inside.
And he has a 1-2-3, which includes a strikeout. After one, 2-0 Tampa Bay. There's a look at Matt Carpenter, 2-0 Rays. We check in with Jim.
Matt Carpenter had a stomach issue. He couldn't hold down food for 36 hours. He's better now. Apparently Dexter Fowler may be dealing with the same issue. Mike Matheny says Fowler came in today in the clubhouse but was sent home. Mike said he didn't seem totally turned upside down, but we're concerned about him being contagious. We're just trying to stay ahead of this. Now Carpenter told me he suspects he got the bug from his little daughter Kinley. And Dan, you have 4 kids, so you would know all about that, right?
Oh yeah, you walk around the house, it's a petri dish. Oh yeah, you've been there, done that too.
And flying a lot really helps too.
Oh yeah, sure
traveling.
It does. So 2-0 lead for Tampa Bay, and here's Corey Dickerson. Had a big night in game 1. Happy birthday to Phil Steele, who's watching the game. 85. Phil Steele, happy birthday. Never misses a game. Hopefully he enjoyed the on-the-field ceremony. After the game, you can see the Cardinals Hall of Fame ceremony from this afternoon.
3 outstanding speeches that were very important in different ways. Pepper Martin's daughter, and of course our colleague Tim McCarver and Mark McGuire. 3 very good messages, and really enjoyed being there.
That's hit the other way, backing up and making the catch. Randall Grichuk. There's Tim McCarver. Rick Ankiel in the back there. John Mozeliak and Bill DeWitt, Big Mac, Mark McGuire. Tim will join us in the 3rd inning. Old friend Joe Patini, talked to him at the luncheon today. He said he watches the Pirates and us. He said every night I got to find out what the 2 teams are doing. One way or another, that's out number 2 off the bat. Adeiny Echeverria.
It's interesting. Joe's from Pittsburgh originally, if I recall, and yet he played with the Giants, played with the Cardinals and the Giants, and yet he still follows Pittsburgh, the team of his youth. That's interesting. But loved spending time with Joe when he was a coach for years and years under Tony La Russa. A lot of golf matches with Joe. And
oh yeah. First thing he said to me, how's your golf game?
Well, and he's never honest about his, I can tell you that. Oh, I can't play this game. Boom.
Boom into center. Pham on the move and won't get there. Brad Miller, the second baseman, on his way to second base.
Well, Mike Leake's trouble started in the first inning after he got 2 quick outs. And I'm not sure Tommy Pham saw this ball very well off the bat. That's the tough one to read, the line drive. And it approached that area of, I wouldn't call it a sun field, but there's certainly some light affecting maybe that area of the field in right center. But I just don't think he saw that well off the bat.
Also came in on the ball that was hit by Duda. That's a foul ball. You know, day games are tougher too. Not to make excuses, but they're tougher for Tommy Pham because of his chronic vision issues.
You're looking for a white baseball in the middle of that light blue white area where the lights aren't really taking effect yet.
No balls and 2 strikes on Blake Snell. 27 thrown, only 6 outside the strike zone for Mike Leake. And the 0-2.
It's interesting, Dan. We'll bring up points like that throughout the year, and I like what you said about that. This is not an excuse. This is the big leagues, and you know it's all about performance. You either do or you don't. But the idea is to bring up factors. I think that's what we try to do. Bring up factors that actually affect the game and affect the player.
Strikeout number 2 for Mike Leake. 2-run homer by Duda, the difference thus far. Grichuk, Molina, Jerko coming up. $15 and under entering with a ticket. Take home a limited edition Cardinals pup courtesy of Build-A-Bear Workshop. And get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Here's Randal Grichuk, Yadier Molina, and Jed Jerko.
Interesting that Randal Grichuk, even though he was omitted by Paul DeYoung when he read the lineup card earlier, he is in this 4th spot. It's interesting to me, Dan, that he's there. He had an 0-for-3 night yesterday, but with Dexter Fowler not here, you think, okay, who's going to hit cleanup? Who do you want to bat cleanup? And I think Mike Matheny going with a hunch here that Grichuk against a left-hander, a guy that likes to throw fastballs, that might be a really good matchup.
He's been in this spot before. A lot of times Mike will kind of ride that hot hand in that cleanup position, and was always looking for a number 3 hitter. It seemed like time and again this year. 292 with a home run and an RBI batting cleanup this season. I thought one of the best parts of the Hall of Fame and the ceremony today is that we made sure to recognize Lou Brock and Red Schoendienst, and those two not in attendance earlier today. But one of the things I said is that they'll be watching, so let's let them know we're thinking of them. I mean, they got the loudest ovation.
Oh, that was so loud
in the afternoon.
I'm sure they appreciate that. They've heard it before, but you can't hear it too much.
Yeah. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Grichuk with a high fly ball into shallow left. That's 4 up and 4 down. The Rays defensively, Dickerson, Kiermaier, Souza Jr. in the outfield. Longoria, Echeverria, Miller, and Duda on the infield. Wilson Ramos behind the plate. And Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Here's Yadier Molina. Something I'll ask Tim in our interview coming up in the third if he feels he's come full circle.
Yeah.
Growing up a Cardinal fan in Memphis, playing for the team, then bouncing around in his major league career, broadcasting on the national level, and now back with the Cardinals with all of us.
I thought he said something interesting about being 26 and having been in 3 World Series already, thinking, well, that, you know, it's going to keep happening.
Right.
And realizing that he played an extra decade plus and never had a chance to go back to the World Series. But that those years and those moments and those teams are still very significant to him.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Yadier Molina. Three and 1 on the Cardinals catcher.
There have been 2 pitches inside this inning, and again the knock on Snell, and there's not a lot of knocks on him in terms of his stuff, but that he doesn't like to or can't pitch inside very well, but he's had a couple up and in on both Yadi and Grichuk.
Hit out to deep right in the corner, and it is caught. Outstanding play in right field, Steven Souza Jr. Boy, that's a good play.
Well, this came very close to having home run distance, and it would have been fair. A little bit out of our view from the broadcast booth, but we can see it there. That's going to be fair at about 333 feet. Oh, no.
You think about interleague play, too, and guys that haven't bounced back and forth in the leagues. You know, this is foreign territory for them, so that's a very good play. And in steps Jed Jerko.
I guess we forgot to have the rosin bag delivered. One of those details.
I can hear Al right now over at Ballpark Village in the studio. See that thing? That's the only thing they ever did for us.
You talking about the Roboski there on the right. Wow. You are in big trouble, number one. And I don't think there is a number 2.
He doesn't like the Roboski. Jerko pops it up. And Duda with the catch. Newest member of the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Outstanding catcher. Incredible broadcaster. And our friend Tim McCarver in the booth when we come back. It has. Hey, congratulations on the Cardinals Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thanks, Ricky.
Yeah, congratulations.
It is just, thank you so much. I'll tell you, it's rare that your emotions, when you don't think that your emotions are going to get out of hand, if you know what I mean, and then all of a sudden it attacks you about 3 times, and that's what it did today. And while I'm happy on one hand, it startled me a bit. I thought I know this well enough. I know the material well enough, but it got to me a couple of times. And it was one when I was talking about Dan, yes. One when I was talking about Gibson, but it kind of always gets to me when I talk about Bob. And I forgot the other time, but the whole thing was the sincerity of Mark, sincerity I should say, of Mark and Jenny and everybody connected to it was the thing that stood out the most for me. And the crowd was just unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I had told you, I said, this is really a cool event.
You did.
I kept telling you throughout the summer, and you've been inducted into like 30 other Hall of Fame. So,
yeah, well, I mean,
I'm just saying. So,
but this Hall of Fame is so special because, I mean, for me personally, this is where I started in 1959, just out of high school, and I knew nothing. I mean, nothing. I knew nothing about baseball. I knew see a ball, hit it. Low ball hitter, what's that? Moving behind the plate, what's that mean? Hit against your front side, what does that mean? I don't know any of this stuff.
And I love what you said during your speech today, which I thought was terrific too, Tim. You talked about learning so many things from George Kissel and others. And
George Crowe.
And George Crowe.
George Crowe probably changed my life in 1961. He was released from the club, and in order to be paid for the rest of the year, he had to agree to traveling in the minor leagues. And at that time, I had an open stance. I choked up on the bat. I was more akin to Nellie Fox than I was to Honus Wagner. And so George came to the minor leagues. I was playing in Charleston. I went back down. The reason I was up was because Hal Smith, the regular catcher, had a heart attack. I went back down, and George came down and spent a week with just me, just little old me. He changed my life. He changed my swing, hitting against the front side. I didn't know what he was talking about when he said that initially. He said, if your right foot is open like that and you're eventually going to close it, why not start with it closed? Because it takes away movement from your swing. It makes so much sense. And I was a neophyte then, didn't know what he was talking about, but I learned in a hurry.
And you've been teaching people since, which I think was part of your point.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you.
Quick 1, 2, 3. Tim McCarver, who is member of the Cardinals Hall of Fame, with us. Back with more in just a moment. Bob Gibson and Tim McCarver Think about that battery in the 1960s. What a great era of Cardinals baseball. And in the World Series, Tim McCarver did some of his best work.
I have no idea where that glove came from. I don't know what that's all about.
I was watching you when they played this during the Hall of Fame, and you started just dying laughing when you saw that.
I'm thinking, what is that? I've never seen that.
Always a camera on you.
Yeah, old footage. Hey, what are you going to do?
How about Bob putting the jacket on you and just what that represents?
Yeah, well, my jacket was too tight to begin with.
Well, I'm not worried about the jacket.
Well, I was. I thought I might come out of it. But Bob has this. Bob, unbeknownst to a lot of fans, he has this serenity about him with his look. And, you know, I know everybody, and certainly in Cardinal Nation, has the look of Gibson, the tenacious competitor and everything. But I've seen so many sides of Bob, believe me, during the 60s, and really getting to know him to where he's one of my best friends and all that sort of stuff. Those things happen. But he has this look of serenity, and today that look came out. It was that kind of nice going.
Yeah.
And, you know, he didn't have to say a word. Bob's very expressive with his
Yes,
facial.
he certainly is. He scares me. I'm still going to tell you that. But let me say
You're
that.
not the only one,
There was
Ricky.
another great moment to me, and that's when you talked about our partner over here, Dan McLaughlin. And let me say first, Tim, that I thought this is great for us to celebrate you as a player. And certainly we celebrate you as a broadcaster, but to remember that you could play this game. But that moment right there, you and Danny hugging, and what you said, and maybe I can get you to say it again here, what you have said about your years with Danny.
I've never had more fun in the booth than I have over the last 4 years working with this man. And that's a fact.
That's great. And you worked with some greats.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked with some of the great American voices ever. And listed them today. That's pretty good company, buddy.
You bet. Appreciate it. It means a lot. You have no idea how much it means to me that you said that.
Well, it means a lot to me, too.
We've had so much fun.
The afternoon and the evening has been so full of emotion. And with Mark, I mean, when I came back to my seat, Mark McGwire was welling up and all that. And I'm thinking, oh, gosh, I've got to hold it together now, you know. And it's so legitimate. It's so sincere. And to see Big Mac genuinely touched like that in front of the people, and he won the applause of the day. And you couldn't help but just feel it. I feel the genuine passion that he had for the Cardinal fans. It was really something to see and behold.
I felt when you came back to us, it was very important that we reintroduced you to an audience as a Cardinal. You know, and I try to make a point in our broadcast to do that, especially early on, to make sure that people know, hey, he was a great player in the 1960s, which is one of the great eras ever in this franchise's history.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm so old.
Well, you're not old, but, you know, most people...
I mean,
well, you know, most people know you as the guy that announced 24 World Series.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know, there's a generations of fans that have seen that need to know about this.
Yeah, well,
that's a two-time All-Star, world champion, 3 World Series with the Cardinals, and as I mentioned, a great performer in postseason play. That's very important.
I'll tell you what really touched me. Also, I got out of the car and we took pictures and everything behind the home plate after making the parade route, and I went in. The first eyes I saw were Yachty's, and he had everything on but his mask, and he said, "Tim, nice going."
Oh, that's great.
It was. I mean, it really got me, and to have that from him, that was pretty special.
How many memories have come back for you today, thinking about, you know, what you're going to say, your speech, hearing the crowd, those kind of things, and seeing some of the former players too?
Well, I kept telling myself, don't screw this up now.
Well, I told you that too.
It's yeah, you did.
That's a good place to start.
Reminded me. You kept reminding me, don't screw it up. And yeah, I wanted to write it down. I wanted to type it out in big type because I couldn't see it otherwise. But I wanted it to be, I knew it was going to be sincere because that's how I feel. That's how I carry myself, and that's who I am. But I wanted that sincerity to come through. I wanted it to come through for the masses. And sometimes you say things that sound right, but you don't have the feeling behind it. And if you don't have the feeling behind it, as we know, as we all know as communicators, then it falls flat. It's not real bad, but it's kind of blah. And I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to be anything but blah. And I don't think it was.
No, it was
awesome.
not. It was terrific, and I loved your history references to it. And, but I think too about this moment as a history moment, really, because we're talking about, and Dan's presenting the great accolades of Pepper Martin, and you think about the teams in the 30s and the 40s and the 60s, and then you get to Mark McGwire. You're part of a long line of great Cardinal moments.
Well, and that's why I thought it appropriate to talk about September 8th, 1998, when Mark did that. I thought it was so touching. I knew he was going to pick up his son, but I didn't know that he was going to bolt right behind the first base dugout. And all of these grown men and women of Roger Maris's family, all 6 of them, and Pat, his wife, they used to travel the ballpark with me. I lived right next door to Roger at the executive apartments in 1967. And he had 2 little ones, Roger Jr. and another one, I forgot his name. But, I mean, here they are, grown men. We just visited before the game with the Maris family. And I you know, all this came just roaring back in your emotion, in your heart. And it's so sincere. I can't put it any more sincerely than that.
The other part of your speech that I love is that you deflected some of the attention. It's such a me moment when you go into a Hall of Fame. It's me, I. And you talk so much about your teammates. And
Javier and Dick Groh.
John Mozeliak looked at me and he said, "That's one hell of a team he's talking about."
Oh, man, was that a good team.
Man.
And I couldn't help it. I used to, Bob and I, when we have our moments together, we say, "Damn, we were good." you know. Yeah. And today I couldn't help it. I said, "We were really good."
Man, were you guys ever?
And because the talent didn't. I mean, Orlando Cepeda, and I'll stay another half inning if that's all right.
We'd love to have you. Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Am I imposing?
No. We know you got to get dinner at some point. Stay with us. Big Mac and Timmy Mac going into the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Fame after the ceremony, and Tim McCarver is our guest, and we were talking about Orlando Cepeda and the addition of Orlando to that great team.
Orlando Cepeda for Ray Sadecki on June 14th, 1966, and Orlando was really down. I mean, really down. By that time, I'd gone from a young catcher in 1963, Stan's last year, my first year, to a more experienced guy to where I was one of the leaders of the team. It was expected for me, and I didn't know much about Orlando. See him and pleasant with him when he was with the Giants, but he was hurt. He was hurt by the Giants. Like that first trade hurt you. I mean, it hurt you a lot. And here's a guy who was the Rookie of the Year, got like a 319 lifetime average before then. He was our most valuable player in 1967. But prior to that, I thought, what does Orlando like to do? And I asked him one day, I said, what do you do with your time? He said, music. Music is my passion. Baseball is my second passion. I said, and you make a living off baseball? And he said, a good one, too. And so Sergio Mendez was playing at the Kiel Auditorium, and I asked Orlando if he would like to go see Sergio Mendez in Brazil '66. He said, I've never heard of them. I said, I thought you were a big aficionado of music, and you've never heard of Brazil '66? I mean, Sergio Mendez is huge. He and Sergio Mendez are as tight as a lot of people to this day.
Wow. Yeah.
He became friends with Sergio Mendez, very close to him. Also, he had never heard of Come On Baby Light My Fire.
The Doors?
No.
I'm kidding.
No, who sang the national anthem in Detroit? To help me, Jose Feliciano.
Yeah.
He didn't. He'd never heard of Jose. And finally, he sings the national anthem and takes about 12 minutes in 1968 before Game 3 in Detroit. And we had a ball about that. And he, with Jose Feliciano, they're as tight as drums today.
Well, that's what teammates do. You looked out after him, you connected him, and he became obviously a big part of that team, the MVP.
Was
as you
he
said.
ever?
But I loved what you said about Gibson wouldn't let the bus leave until Cepeda was on it because he was late for it one day.
Red said, all right, let's go. And Bob said, wait a minute. Bob was pitching that night, and he said, is Orlando on the bus? And we.
There's a deep drive into right, and it is gone into the Cardinal pen, and a home run for Dickerson.
So we all looked around, and Cepeda was not on the bus. So Bob said, we're not leaving until Cepeda shows up. And sure enough, about 5-7 minutes later, Cepeda showed up. The bus went to Shea, and matter of fact, I think Bob was pitching against Tom Seaver that night.
Were you happy with your speech and how it all came out?
Oh, yeah, I think so. All things considered, I wanted it to be for sincerity to be the thing that stood out. And I thought it was a very passionate, lovely afternoon for everybody involved. I couldn't believe the enthusiasm of the fans there. I don't think I've seen it. You know, you see Busch Stadium packed, but then when you see a smaller arena packed, it makes more of an impact on you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Derby.
Outstanding.
Thanks, Ricky.
You're the best.
Great job. Thank you very much. Same here, man.
Unique Kelly Green Cardinals jersey, and it's courtesy of Cooper Tire. And also we have a Build-A-Bear workshop coming up. That's on September 10th. That's a Sunday. Get your Cardinals pup and the Build-A-Bear workshop. Our score is 3-0. Great to visit with Tim McCarver. So well deserved. Here's Tommy Pham, and the Cardinals need to get something going. Still without a hit in this game.
Just one base runner, and Snell, we thought right from pitch number 1, had good stuff here tonight, and he's proven it. 1 strikeout. Wouldn't say he's getting a lot of swings and misses, but a lot of balls popped up into the air. I think his ball has good run to it.
Here's a 2-0 pitch to Tommy Pham. Pham hits it sharply to third. Longoria. I was thinking about already next year's Hall of Fame.
You're already on it? You already got the candidates?
I think if he hits the ballot, which he should, to me he already should be in. But Ray Langford,
yeah, he's on my mind too. We had a chance to spend a lot of time with Ray for part of the fantasy camp this January, and Ray was just great to be around. He still looks like he could hit, but if I'm not mistaken, he had more home runs at Busch Stadium too than anybody.
That's correct.
And that to me is a big deal. And he could run the bases, he could play defense.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Well, if you look at RBIs and hits and on-base percentage and some of the major offensive categories, he is in the top 10 of the majority of those. Was a tremendous player. Here's a 1-1 pitch. On the ground to short, Adeiny Echeverria. Arcia in the driver's seat with a Hall of Fame theme to it. Pepper Martin's family. And you said last night, I'm going to learn something about Pepper Martin I didn't know about. You did today during the ceremony.
I learned a lot about him. I mean, a lot about him, and not just his numbers and his World Series, being in 3 World Series, but his involvement with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which has been a passion of mine for nearly 3 decades, that he was one of the founders of that, along with Branch Rickey. I did not know that. I've certainly seen the videos of Pepper Martin. You think about the Gas House Gang, where there are 3 guys kind of flipping the ball around in kind of old school style, and almost, I don't know even what you call what they were doing, but it was almost like, we used to call it flip, where you're just flipping the ball around and showing your agility, I guess. And that's the video I've seen over and over and over again of Pepper Martin, but certainly learned more about him today.
I knew about Branch Rickey and FCA. I did not know about Pepper Martin.
And that he knew Don McClannon, the founder, and that's a name I know. And also the fact that, you know, it was interesting to hear his daughter say that, you know, we don't really know him as a player, really. We know him as a manager, because we were young, and certainly they know the stories about him later and the numbers, etc. But he became a player manager, came back and played during the war when there was a shortage of players. He came back to play at age 40, and really a terrific career, and so glad he was able to be honored today and have his family here.
That's pulled foul. For my experiences now with the Hall of Fame, I'm sure you get the same thing, but for those players that have passed and then their families come back to represent them, it is a very emotional experience for them.
Yeah, it's almost melancholy in some ways, because they think, as his daughter said, that she would love to have him. He would love to have been here for it.
Inside the third base line, the Cardinals have their first hit. It's a double for Grichuk down into the left field corner. Now he's thinking to go to third, and he will, sliding in safely. I don't of my line of vision there, Ricky. I wasn't sure if that was misplay down in the corner by Dickerson.
Well, it took a long time to get out of that corner, that's for sure. Grichuk hustling out of the box. He hits that ball past Longoria. He was a very good fielder at third, but that was a missile. And then it just seems to get lost in this corner, hugs the wall a bit, and there's the bobble. Right in front of Red Schoendienst. I wonder what Red would have to say. You can't bobble a baseball in front of Red Schoendienst. I'm sorry.
Can't happen. Here's Yadier Molina. Little chopper hit to short. Echeverria, easy play. Sends us to inning number 5. Big Mac up next. Honored by the fans today as he went into the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Official member of the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame.
Gosh. No kidding. Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mark.
Wow.
That's outstanding.
What a day. That was awesome.
There's a base hit into right. Are you worn out? It's emotional.
I probably will be tonight when I get back to the hotel.
Yeah.
So.
Were you happy with the speech?
Yeah, I came through. Yeah, I just, you know, my manager, Andy Green, in San Diego, he's one of the best speakers I've ever been around, and he does it, and he helped me out a lot, and I can't thank him enough. So it worked out really well.
I had the over/under, Mac, at about 5 times that you'd break down.
Yeah.
And I took the over, and you finished with the under.
Yeah,
you kept it together.
Yeah, I think I broke down so many times since I was here earlier this week doing interviews,
right.
And then continue writing what I wanted to talk about. It's just you know, it's funny. A lot of things that I've never talked about. You know, they're deep down inside me. They're up in my Rolodex and in my mind, and then all of a sudden you start talking about them, and you feel about man, this is the emotions that I was having at that given time, and you know, you know, to go into the St. Louis Hall of Fame. I mean, the best thing about it is Cardinal Nation votes you in, and they're paying me back for the love that they give, and for the love. I love them so much, and it's just, oh my God, it's just like speechless, really.
It's terrific, and what you said about being reattached maybe to those emotions of those years and feeling them again, perhaps today.
Yeah, it's been
and
so long time.
especially as it relates to the fans. I think the people in that place really got your message that you cared about them and appreciated them.
I did, and when I talked about that first at bat on August 8th, coming here and obviously in the old Busch Stadium, and getting in that box, and when they said my name, and it really felt like it was a 10-minute standing ovation. I'm sitting there going, it doesn't happen to a guy that's like 5 for 50, in a horrendous slump. You sit back and go, wait a minute, does this really happen? And to this day, you know, when the teams I've coached on and players move left and right today, if you ever have a chance to put a Cardinal Redbird jersey on and play there, you'll understand what I'm trying to tell you. It's out of this world. It's the knowledge, the support. Yes, the level is up here, and they expect you to win all the time. But wouldn't you want that? I mean, that's what you want. So, you know, all these feelings came out, and it just, you know, they won me in here. I really came here in '97 thinking that I was going to be a rental. And really, Tony was the man that convinced me to get over here, and along with Walt, and then next thing you know, I'm here, and the fans do what they do. And I mean, I remember that in my third at bat, I think, a home run. There it is, right there. You know, how ironic, you know, Mark Leiter, you know, his son, Mark Leiter Jr., is pitching for Philadelphia, and we just faced him last week. So
I
my
think
first home run in St. Louis, and facing, and now I'm coaching against his son. So
it's incredible. I think there's a bill out there for that Stadium Club window, actually.
Yeah, but it's just, it was one of the first of many, you know, curtain calls that became just an unbelievable event here in St. Louis, and man, I can't thank him enough.
You look at Cal Ripken, and then you look at the home run chase. Do you think that helped save the game at that time?
I truly do, yeah. And I really, it's unbelievable. I think the city of St. Louis, I think we did it together. I mean, it's, you know, people kept on talking about how they just didn't care to watch baseball anymore after what happened in '94. And what I did and what the city did to bring this country together. And I mean, when was the last time that you had somebody break, you know, an athlete have a newsworthy thing break into news, break into television shows, and when people would wake up in the morning and say, "What did Mark do?" It took over the nation. It was incredible. I loved every minute of it. Yes, it was stressful. You know, and yes, that last weekend I had to put it in another gear mentally. I mean, it was one of those things that it's hard to describe to people how far deep you can go into your mind, and it wasn't a physical thing in that box. It was a mental thing. And then, you know, in my naps before the games, when I visualize what that pitcher on the mound is going to try to do to me and how his ball is going to move, and that's what I try to do.
Nice play by Tommy Pham. Will you stick around another half minute?
Absolutely, yeah.
Big Mac is with us. Mark McGwire, the newest member of the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Pham takes away a hit, saves a run. It's 3-0. Number 62.
Shortest one of the year.
The lap of Tim Ferneris, too.
Oh,
return the baseball.
I just took a picture with him back.
Did you really?
Underneath. Yeah, he's such a great guy.
And you made the comment today at the ceremony. Again, your speech was outstanding. The whole day was outstanding about people knowing where they were. I can tell you, I was there, and I know exactly where I was sitting and who I was sitting near. It's just a moment freeze frame.
It happens to me periodically throughout, in all these different cities. I mean, I'll be at an Apple store, and a guy will come up and talk to me about something, and he goes, "Hey, by the way, I know where I was when you hit number 62." So it's just, it's incredible. It's such a great feeling, and there's my.
Matt is all grown up, by the way.
I can't pick him up like that. No, that was awesome. What a, in baseball, it's father and son, and that's just, I mean, the night before hitting number 61 on my dad's 61st birthday. I mean, and in 62, and my son being there, and the same inning, the bottom of the fourth, Roger Maris hit his home run, 61, and and the number was marked. The ball was marked number 3, which is Babe Ruth. It was such an eerie, magical, spiritual run. It just sort of all fell into place. It was just unbelievable.
It was a strike to Stephen Piscotty. I know it meant a lot to Tim that you went out after that home run and went over to the Maris family and made a point to go over and talk to his kids.
Yeah.
Because Tim was tight with him. Obviously, so many of the St. Louis guys knew Roger Maris from his days here in town. Did you have that mapped out that you were going to do that?
I did not. It was just
something that came.
Just something that came, man. It's like I got to hold his bat, Roger's bat, prior to the game, and it gave me energy or whatever. But it's funny, in the top of the 4th inning, I'm out there playing defense, and in this something came over me. It was it was like the calm before the storm, and it's like I just felt as peace can be, not knowing that in the bottom of the 4th I was going to do that, and it happened to be one of the smallest, shortest home runs of the year. But it was just one of those things. It was such a spiritual year, and man, it was historical. And like you said, I mean, people do remember where they were on that given day.
With everything you've been through, and what I mean by that is I remember it was like being with the Beatles. I mean, we're going in the back of hotels, and
yeah, that was one good thing. Yeah, that was one good thing.
The pressure that you were under, and the media scrutiny, and everything that went along with that. Would you do it again? Was it worth it for you?
Hell yeah, I'd do it again, because the man upstairs only puts you in certain situations, knows that you can handle them.
Yeah.
Just how you handle them, and I thought I handled it the best I possibly could. It's just, I think about like back in '87, when Tony picked me to be the last guy to make the ball club, and next thing you know, I had 31 home runs, the All-Star break, and that's when they started talking about Mark McGwire is going to break Roger Maris's record, and oh my God, what, really? It's like, and then all of a sudden '98 happened, and the beginning of spring training, and the cover of Sports Illustrated, and they said, well, it's going to happen this year because of the expansion. It was the same year in '61. There was expansion in '61, so. It was just, everything was lined up, and I tried to take it the best stride as I could, and I got my way, but I got away from the game as far as I could when I could. But when I was between that lines, that was like my sanctuary. There wasn't anybody or anything that could get in my mind and could get me out of what I wanted to try to do. And it's something as a coach I try to pass on. And that's why I got into coaching, to pass on the knowledge. And it's hard for these young kids to understand this stuff. I mean, life is way different today. Talking to a young kid today eye to eye is a hard thing to do. They like to talk via text and Facebook and all that other stuff, which I don't even know what all that stuff's about. But it's hard. But it's to understand how deep you can go inside the mind to control your own destiny and to slow the game down. It's people don't understand that. They say, slow it down. What do you mean slow it down? Your mind slows everything down. If your eyes are relaxed, your mind's relaxed, your body's relaxed.
What did you do after that afternoon? I mean, did you just get away for a while after 70?
Yeah. Well, no, actually get away. I just actually, I was on a plane flight back home to California.
You got away from everybody.
Yeah, I went back home, and one of the owners, David Pratt, flew me in one of his private jets, and thanked him so much, and flew back home and had a nice big party back home, and had the beautiful '62 Corvette they gave me there too. It was awesome.
And you still have it. We'll talk
I
about that.
still have it. Yeah, let's do it.
Back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Night we'll never forget. Big Mac is with us in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Three new members of the Cardinals Hall of Fame: Mark McGwire, Tim McCarver, and Pepper Martin, all inducted earlier today. The Kubota Power Stats: Mark McGwire 98 was 70, 99 65, then Albert Pujols 49 47 46.
Wow.
Single season home run leaders for the Cardinals. One pitch and one out. You come back as a coach to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And you're reintroduced to the Cardinals in this tradition, and you win in 2011. How much fun was it to coach and come back?
Well, I think I was more nervous in that World Series than I was as a player in 3 of them. I mean, because you're working with these guys and you're pulling for them left and right, and all the hard work, and how that season, gosh, how it ended. It's like, well, we were 9.5 out in the wild card with 3 weeks left, and Atlanta was falling, and we were, we were winning, then we were losing, and then next thing you know, that was last day in Houston, and we won it, and then we go into Atlanta and win it, and then, I mean, it's just.
And you were the one, though, that convinced Tony to keep David Freese in the lineup prior to a game against the Phillies.
Well, David's just such a tough out, man. I mean, this guy was just incredible, and.
Good call.
It's just, I mean, he'd been through. It's like, it's not a hard decision, Yeah, but
Tony was crippling.
But then Tony also didn't want Jason Mont to be our closer either, too, and he closed it out, right?
Right.
So.
Mac, I want to ask you about you start out as you're a superstar player, and superstar players don't always make great coaches. Nice play by Wong. But you certainly have, and Tony recognized that in you, the hard work that you brought as a hitting coach, now a bench coach. Do you see in your crystal ball down the road managing in your future?
I've never ruled it out, but I'm having such a great time sitting next to Andy Green, and I just love the situation down there in San Diego with AJ, Preller, and Ron Fowler and everybody down there, and Josh Stein. It's just, I mean, we're having a great. Fuger, it's like, I'm really enjoying myself. We got some really, really good talent coming. I mean, I'm not going to ever rule it out, but again, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. I love being next to Andy, and it's like being next to Tony La Russa.
We'd love having you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So well deserved.
I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. And thank you, Cardinal Nation.
You bet. Baseball is brought to you by your local St. Louis area Volkswagen dealers. Visit VWDealer.com. So Mark McGwire gets up from our interview.
Yes.
And I said to him, you know, there's one question I've always wanted to ask you. And we've had long conversations when he was coaching here, had a really long conversation earlier this year, and when he was in LA. I mean, we've talked about everything outside of baseball, inside of baseball, and I had never asked him before. And I said, why did you fax your retirement? Why did you do that? And he said, you know what? That's wrong. He said, I don't know why it got misinterpreted that way. He said, actually, I made the call, and then it got reported that I faxed it. He said, if I could do it over again, though, I would do it over. He said, I would end it differently. I would not fax or call. I maybe hold a press conference, whatever. Right. But I always wondered that. It was an odd way to end such a, you know, a great run for an individual with this particular franchise.
Well, sometimes you just make the best decision you can at the time. It doesn't mean you don't always go back and regret some of them, but you think about those years and just how exciting it was for Cardinal fans. I would certainly overlook that.
Carpenter at the plate. Cardinals go big. They score 6, head on the run tomorrow. Any size drink is just 50 cents the next day. We're at the bottom of the 6th. 3-0 Tampa Bay, and the Cardinals have been out hit 5-2.
They haven't figured out Snell, but credit Mike Leake with at least keeping this close. Giving up a couple of home runs in this game, but he's got through 6 innings with just 65 pitches.
Been great to visit with Tim and Big Mac.
And we understand, Dan, that there are fans that tune into a game, especially young fans, that are so interested in the 2017 Cardinals, and boy, do we have a chance to catch the Cubs, and what about the wild card? And you know, there's some times where we take some deviations away from this game and celebrate our history, and today's one of those days, and yet this game matters. This game does matter, and Cardinals are going to need to figure out a way to get back in it. They've got 4 more shots, and they just have not figured out this left-hander yet.
Chicago with a 6-2 lead over the Phillies. That's in the top of 5. 3-1 pitch. And Carpenter with a high fly ball. Deep right center. At the wall, and the catch made by Kiermaier. Now time for the Unlimited Baseball break, and it's brought to you by T-Mobile. John Carlin Stanton with 49 home runs. Danny Duffy is on the DL. And Sonny Gray, a winner for the Yankees today against the Seattle Mariners. T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. Here's Tommy Pham with 1 out. Pham twice is grounded out to third, 0 for 2.
Very different pace to this game than we had last night. A lot of that has to do with Mike Leake being a strike thrower. That's part of it. But also Snell has it. He's not a guy that typically does that, Dan. He averages about 4.5 walks per 9 innings. But he's sharp. Fastball, curveball. And that curveball we just saw, that's not easy to hit. Late break, right to a corner.
Here's a 1-1. He's only gone more than 5 innings in 3 of his 10 road starts this year.
Well, part of the problem that he's had, and talked to a number of guys about him, and what they said was he would come out the first inning and throw all 4 of his pitches, and it was almost like, here's my resume, and he wanted to just throw them all, and without even necessarily a sequence to it. He just wanted to get them all established, and he's learned establish the fastball, then work off of it, as I mentioned earlier, with the curveball, the change, and the slider. And he's just been more effective that way, making the fastball more primary.
And it's a 1-out walk. 3-0 our score. DeYoung at the plate. 1 out and a runner at first. We'll see Big Mac on the next road trip. Be 2 with Milwaukee, 4 with San Francisco, then 4 in San Diego. So long trip and a very important one coming up.
Very sincere about my comments about Mark as a coach, and I've seen again a lot of really great players, and they become a coach and they like it for about a day and a half, and then okay, let me go do something else. But because it involves a lot of work, and he was at the ballpark early, spring training, first guy there, and he loved it, loved helping young players get better and understand hitting.
And so did that guy right there, Red Schoendienst.
He's been around the ballpark an hour or two.
I'd say up until maybe, what do you think, Rick, 5-7 years ago, in uniform hitting fungos?
Oh yeah, I would say no more than 5.
Here's a 1-1, and that's hit out to left, and a fair ball down into the corner. Pham racing to third. He'll score. Ball gets away. DeYoung on his way to third. The second time that's happened tonight. The left fielder Corey Dickerson, and St. Louis gets on the board to make it 3-1.
Well, the Cardinals trying to string something together, and DeYoung has typically been in the middle of that. Hits the ball in the corner. That's going to be, I would guess, another error. And that extra base from second to third for DeYoung might be a big deal in this game. And whether they give that one an error or not, Dan, tonight has broken a string of 9 straight games where Tampa Bay had not made an error defensively.
So they gave him a triple.
Okay with that.
And you're right, this becomes a big at bat in this game right here. Got to get him home. First triple for Paulie D. First RBI since back on the 19th of this month.
Definitely need contact in this at bat. The infield is back. You have to get this second run.
StubHub is your ticket out to once-in-a-lifetime experiences, Cardinal games to amazing concerts. Shows you just don't want to miss. Think about StubHub.
You know, even with the infield back, we showed where they were. Echeverria has such a strong arm. I wouldn't discount him coming home.
Good point. The fastball again, and it's 1-2. That pitch at 96. Doesn't chase.
Looked like he was trying to throw that ball hard instead of just throwing it hard. There's a difference.
The 2-2. Tapped it foul. The swing and a miss, and the ball gets through. But the throw to the bag.
As I mentioned, this is the one thing you can't have with a runner at third base, and that's just expanding your zone too much for Grichuk, over anxious on a ball that never was a strike. You Yachty to pick him up here.
And so with 2 outs, runner at third base. 3-1 Tampa Bay, and here's Yadier Molina. And a strike. Yadi's saying that ball's high. Let's take a look. The Chevy Fox tracks, and it is. Here's an 0-1 pitch. 0-2. Molina in the 6th spot in the lineup tonight. He's bouncing around. Rather, the 5th spot in the lineup tonight. And the 0-2. In the air, left field. Can't find it. Dickerson can't see it. It drops. Yachty on his way to second base, and in there safely. A run scores.
There's Dickerson. He can't find it, and it kind of gives you a little bit more understanding of why Kiermaier went into left field to catch a ball yesterday. Dickerson's really struggling here in this game. He just couldn't see it at all. Now he's finding it, but it's a bit too late. But the effort by Kiermaier, as the blue sky, somewhere in that sky, that baseball was lost on Corey Dickerson. What a break for the Cardinals.
Wow.
That's a huge break.
Make him pay. 2 outs. And a ball to Jed Jerko. He singled back in the 5th inning.
They've already had to pay. Make him pay more.
And now the catcher Ramos out to visit. Maybe calm down Blake Snell. Get him back on track after I'm sure he feels he should be out of the inning.
Two balls in the corner. He lost that ball in the sky. Defense matters.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. Pulled foul.
Oh, not by much. What would you say, a 100th of a second later if he'd have waited? That ball's fair?
Yes.
Think about the timing that a hitter has to have to be successful. I mean, you're talking about the slightest of difference keeping the hands back.
The 2-1 pitch. Jerko sitting on 18 home runs. And he draws the walk.
So Zilla's got a little extra work after thinking the inning was over. Think about the pop fly goes into left field. Everybody in the stadium thought, oh, okay, time to go get some concessions. Time to go take a break. Time to go in for the fielders to get ready to hit. And he's still out there. You have to make sure you stay sharp mentally, and I'm sure that's what's going on with Hickey in that conversation. Get back in it. Compete. Being around the game, Dan, we've seen it. We've seen pitchers as bullpen gets active with Boxberger. We've seen pitchers that tend to give up a lot of unearned runs, and I'm not saying this is going to be the case with him here, but it's very easy when somebody makes a mistake behind you for you to kind of feel like, well, I did my part, I should be out of this. But you have to find a way to get better and pick up your defense as they pick up you night after night.
1-0 the count with 2 outs, runners at first and second. The Scotty with runners at first and second, 2 outs this year, 3 for 9 with a homer. And the 1-0 pitch. Ground ball to short. Force play at second. Cardinals get a break on the ball that should have been caught by Dickerson. Allows a run to score. 1-run game. It's now 3-2. It's been an adventure out there for Dickerson so far tonight. Rays with a 1-run lead in the State Farm. Perfect pair. A couple of home runs hit tonight. Dickerson, by the way, with number 25 in his last at bat. With that home run, the Rays have 3 players with 25 or more home runs. Morrison, Souza Jr., and Dickerson.
Second time they've done that, right? Second time in franchise history.
Yeah, the other was 2009. It was Longoria, Carlos Pena, and Ben Zobrist. And there's strike one. So Mike Leake, you look up, here he is pitching in the 7th. And you didn't really know what you were going to get tonight from Leake.
Well, I give him a lot of credit. I mean, he could have easily folded 2 runs in that first inning. Base hit with 2 outs and a home run. You just feel like, boy, here we go again. You have to have that voice in the back of your head. Here we go again. But he wouldn't entertain that voice. And again, the importance of him doing this with the Cardinals bullpen still trying to get healthy, straight, and figure out the right roles. It's really helpful when the Cardinals starters can go longer.
And it's popped up. Carpenter, foul territory, and he makes a catch. And the pitch count only at 68 for Leake. Commemorate this inaugural Players Weekend at MLBShop.com. Limited edition Cardinals jerseys and tees featuring player pick nicknames. Wear the gear the players are wearing on the field this weekend. Available while supplies last at MLBShop.com. Adeiny Echeverria. Three-2 our score here in the top of the 7th. Every time I see it, it just puts it in perspective. Doing these games when Ozzie rolls out, Bob Gibson, Lou Brock, Red Schoendienst. That's well hit out to deep left. Has a chance to go, and it's gone. Echeverria home run, and that makes it a 4-2 Tampa Bay lead.
Well, Mike Leake has only given up 6 hits. That's the good news. This hanging slider, unfortunately, is one of 3 home runs that make up those 6 hits. And La Pantera got all of it. Not really a home run hitter, but he just timed it up perfectly.
And a strike. 0-2 on Brad Miller.
Miller's 2 for 2, and he came into this game 3 for his last 40. Guess Kevin Cash had a feeling.
Before and after Memorial Day, it's been a struggle for Mike Leake. The first 9 starts, he was terrific. We're talking about him being an all-star.
Right.
And then the next 17, it's been a rough go. 7th innings have been issues for him too. 11 of the 68 earned have come in the 7th inning. Diving stop by Jerko, and makes the play. Robs Blake Snell. This Hall of Fame night, let's stretch. Nice play by Jed Jerko. Pitcher running and just enough time. 4-2 our score. Milwaukee. Look at that. The .432 on base percentage at home. And the numbers have been terrific, certainly in August. What he's done against lefties all adds up to a very good year for Colton Wong.
And this is just about his offense. I think his defense has been just as good, an increase over where he was at the start of the year. I think he's become very comfortable making plays to his left, to his right. We know how athletic he is, but the defense has been superb and the offense has really come around. He's as tough and out as the Cardinals have in their lineup right now, if not the toughest.
Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Home runs a big part of this game. The Rays have hit 3. They're 5th in the American League with 181. That's the most in franchise history through 130 games. Double-digit home runs from all 9 spots in their order. Well, it's an American League team.
That's right. And all 9 of them get to hit every day. Jose Martinez, Cafe, will hit for Mike Leake, so his night is through. 7 innings, 4 runs for Leake. I wouldn't call it a terrific start. He did give up 3 home runs, but the way it started for him to get through 7 innings, again, to save the bullpen is very helpful.
Anthony Rizzo with a 3-run homer, his 30th of the year for the Cubs. They lead 6-2. That's in the top of the 7th. Colorado leading Atlanta, so we'll keep an eye on the wild card. The number 2 wild card team, Colorado, 4-2 in the 6th. How about Miami? 4.5 games back in the wild card now. They're tied 1-1, top of the 6th with San Diego.
We showed Wong's numbers against left-handed pitching. I think one of the things he's doing, he's letting the ball get deeper. And that's one thing overall I think is helping him. He's letting the ball get deeper into the hitting zone, and he's not flailing away at a ball in the dirt. He's letting it get in on him. He's trusting his hands, and especially with lefties, not afraid to go the other way. It's easy to get jumpy as a hitter. Feel like you have to go out and hit the base, and you don't let the baseball come to you. You feel like you've got to go out and attack it. And yes, you have to be quick with your hands, but if you commit too early, the pitcher can carve you up. And occasionally you're going to be late, and that's what he was on that one.
And a strikeout of Wong. Well, the Rays have to be thrilled with what they've seen from their pitcher tonight, Blake Snell. That'll be it for Mike Leake. So the Cardinals see him give up 4 runs in 7 with the 3 home runs allowed. Martinez, one of the top pinch hitters in baseball this year, and against lefties, he's hitting .341. And a strike to Jose Martinez. Nickname on the back is remembrance of his father, played in the major leagues, and a former teammate of Rick Horton. Here's the 0-1. One of these days we're going to have to go side by side. You know, we do the split screens.
Yeah.
And so his dad was the one that hit the ball off the head of Canseco, famous shot, and then a home run, and you see him run the bases. I thought I was watching Jose Martinez. This guy. I mean, it was identical. Body type, long, lanky, tall.
Very valuable pinch hitter. The Cardinals overall, we keep talking about it, over 300 still as a team pinch hitting, and he's 9 for 22. He's been a huge part of it.
And the 0-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's a 1-2. A little bit low. The challenge for an umpire, for a guy that you go from Colt Wong,
right,
and then the strike zone of Jose Martinez.
Your body dictates the strike zone. It's not a finite area. It is left to right, but not vertical. Horizontal, it's corner to corner. Of course, if you talk to a pitcher, they'll say it's just off the corner to just off the corner. But for a hitter, I like the bigger guys because their zone's bigger.
There's 2 away. Join us at the ballpark Saturday, September 9th. Watch the Cardinals take on the Pirates 6:15 that night. 30,000 fans 16 and older. Also take home a Cardinals zip-up pullover presented by the Shane Company. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
Dan, I know we've talked about this before, but some fans may not know that the strike zone is actually dictated by how you actually swing. If you're going to take a swing, that's the posture of your strike zone. So you can't just kind of crouch and create a smaller zone. If you're a smaller player and you crouch, that doesn't make the strike zone shrink. It's what your top of the zone and bottom of the zone is when you actually swing at a pitch.
Evan Morrison is helping us out here in the booth. One of the top stat men in the game today. Evan, how old are you? 5.5. So Evan is with us, and he's been breaking down all the numbers all night.
Doing a great job, Evan. Evan, stay right there.
Give Mr. Horton a high five. Can you give him a high five?
That's right. Nice. Very good.
I'll tell you this, he's intense. One ball and 1 strike with 2 outs. And nobody on for Carpenter. Sent one to the wall, but that was caught, and that is hit out of play. Here's a 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss, and Carpenter strikes out. 4-2 our score as we head to the 8th. Right-handers in for St. Louis, 34th appearance. Big crowd here tonight, 41,295. 41295. What a job, Rick, by Brebbia so far this year.
You saw his numbers, but what you'd say big picture about Brebbia is he's been consistent. He's had very few games where he's given up any runs. Fastball, slider, change, and curve. That's his Hyundai pitch arsenal. And the fastball and slider are what you're going to see the most of. And he establishes the fastball. He tries to get you out with the slider. And the slider is very sharp.
Kevin Kiermaier. And the first pitch is popped up. Paul DeYoung calling for it on the outfield grass. Makes the catch, and there's one away. Wonder if Brebbia is excited about the finale of Game of Thrones tomorrow night. Telling you, he could be an extra for that beard. Noah Syndergaard made a appearance in Game of Thrones. Here's Steven Souza Jr. Right field, 2 pitches, 2 outs. Our Budweiser, what's on tap? Lance Lynn tomorrow will come your way at 12:30 against Chris Archer. He's 9-7. Lynn 10-6. Wonder what Lynn's nickname is. We have to find that out.
I believe it's just Lynn.
I figured it'd be joy, bubbly, happiness.
Cantankerous did not fit on the back of his jersey.
I was emceeing Adam Wainwright's charity function, and I interviewed him as just a breath of fresh air. What a lovely human being. And Lynn's just looking at me like, yeah. I had a laundry list of things to go along with that. And I finished it by saying one of the best pitchers right now in the game.
He's sneaky funny.
Oh, he's hilarious. He's great, too. He's also tough. You can hit one off his head and he'll stay in the game.
We've seen it.
Lance Lynn was one of well, he was on one of the caravans when he first came up. Very chatty, too. He really was. Then as time went on, Chris Carpenter got his hooks into him. And that changed really quickly.
And it was good to have Chris here.
Great.
Today. And Willie McGee. And, of course, the guys who are always here. But the ones that come back, Bob Gibson, ones we don't see as often, is very special. Our Hall of Fame weekend.
I get a sneaky suspicion, and I don't know this, and I'm being honest, that Carpenter will get more involved. I think he misses it. Time away has been long enough. We'll see. 8-pitch inning for Brebbia. 4-2 our score. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light, famous among friends. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Ricky, we mentioned it last night. The Rays pen has been really good, especially now down the stretch. Second in baseball in ERA. Their bullpen an even 2.
Well, it's what you need for a strong finish at the end of a season, to have a bullpen coming into shape, and Tommy Hunter has been a part of that. We saw him yesterday. He's our Chevy call to the bullpen. And we mentioned last night that he was a guy that anybody could have had. 49 games this year, low ERA, but he was a non-roster invitee. That means there's no roster spot for him. He's a veteran guy, but here he is throwing 96, 97 out of the bullpen, and that's very helpful when you're trying to finish the marathon strong.
Let me ask you this. In your experience, how does a guy with this kind of arm, big arm, sneak through and become a non-roster invitee? I mean, somebody's got to take a flyer on him, right?
Well, I guess that's essentially what Tampa did, is they took a flyer on him, but after people gave up on him, though. I think you're thinking age, you're thinking, you know, maybe has a bad year, so you're thinking maybe he's done, and just not sure we got some young guys we want to look at. There's a lot of factors that come into why a team would let somebody go, but the projection would be that he was done. Clearly somebody had that projection. He did not agree with it.
And I would agree with him.
Two Towels was right.
Two Towels.
And I want to remind you, Dan.
Yes, sir.
Before you say much more about Two Towels, that he is a 2-time Junior Olympic Judo champion.
Well, we become some of the biggest fans that Two Towels has ever had.
After hearing that, you're right.
He does no wrong in our book. And now he just walked the leadoff man and puts a tying run at the plate. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Behind Two Towels, no doubles defense.
Very deep. Very, very deep.
DeYoung could tie it up with one swing of the bat. There's ball 1. Fans maybe have just tuned in, and who knows, maybe not watching the game last night. They're like, well, why Two Towel?
Yeah, what's going on?
He says it should be Two Towels because it takes 2 clubhouse towels to wrap around his waist. Hence the nickname. That's what he said, not us.
Better than 3 towels.
That's it out of play.
Sometimes when guys get out of the game, they become 3 towels.
Here's a 1-2. He strikes him out.
Whew. Got some hop on his fastball, doesn't he? I mean, DeYoung can hit a fastball. He just blew that by him.
Fox Sports Supports proud to team up with Girls on the Run and their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. Learn more about how you can get involved this fall. Visit foxsportsupports.com. So here's Grichuk with 1 out and a runner at first base.
So it isn't just the velocity. He's got hop to it. You think of it, Trevor Rosenthal, Dan, when he's throwing right, it isn't just velocity, it's the hop on it. And that's what I see from Hunter. Again, you normally see that with younger pitchers. The hop usually goes away when you get older. He's still got it.
Into center. Catch made, and there's 2 away. There's Yadier Molina, 1 for 3. RBI double back in the 6th. Cardinals with just 4 hits. He represents the tying run here in the bottom of the 8th. Well, partner, we wrap up the homestand tomorrow. And when we come back, we'll be deep into September.
Yes, we will. Long road trip. 3-city trip.
It's really the sprint to the finish. Here's a 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It started to feel like September baseball about a week ago to me.
Yeah.
I think weather-wise part of it, but also just the tension and the attention on the wild card races in both the American League and the National League. Closing in on September call-up conversations. Talked to Tom Foley, the bench coach, for a long time today. He's an old friend. Good player with the Expos for years, and he's in favor of limiting the number of players that can be brought up.
The ball scoots away. I agree with him.
He said we're going to play some games with the Yankees in late September that'll take 6 hours because we'll have so many pitchers, and they play some slow baseball. Tampa does, and there's Tom Foley on the left with the glasses, and really good shortstop, really good player. Played 12 years in the big leagues. He is one of the longest tenured coaches in baseball. He's a bench coach now, longtime third base coach. He said I was always 1 year behind Jose Oquendo, and he's just been coaching along. He's been here. He's been a Ray since there was such a thing as Rays.
1998.
He began at the beginning, and he had some other interesting ideas about the game and where we're going.
2-2, base hit into right. Pham will score. 1-run game.
So the walk was a gift, and the extra base on the wild pitch is a gift. Then you just need 1 hit, and Yadi gets it. Fastball up, drives it the other way. No way they're going to try to throw the ball home and let Yadi potentially go to second.
Any of those ideas that you're in agreement with Tom Foley?
Yeah, one of the things he said is, he said you are going to see, and this I wouldn't even say agreement, I would say it's new to me to think about the way he said it. He said pitching in baseball will absolutely change in the next 10 years. The way pitching staffs are used. He said he believes that developmentally you are going to train starters to go 4 innings, and you're going to train another starter to go 4 innings, and then the idea will be to use 2 starters, and then you don't necessarily need more pitchers, you just need 2 guys to go strong for 70 pitches, not 100. Now that's a novel thought. There are actually some teams that have tried that. The Rockies tried that a few years ago. Piggyback, and that's. And minor league systems have done that. The Astros did it.
Cardinals at one point did a little bit of that. Jerko, base hit. And Yadier Molina made this interesting with his second RBI with a runner in scoring position at 2 outs. He came in hitting 163 in those spots, and now Jerko has extended the inning.
Even the Cardinal fans got the together sign going.
We're all together.
I love that.
8-year-olds and grown men. We're all together, right?
We are. We're all together.
The Cardinals. Scotty again in a key spot.
Cardinals have put good finishes on a lot of games. They haven't always come back and taken it, but you just appreciate the way that they play all 9. Cardinals bench is short with Dexter Fowler not being here.
Into left, base hit. They'll hold up Yadi. Well, it's interesting. I had just written on a note to my partner. I said, do you pinch run for Yadier Molina? And then Rick brought up the fact that you're short because Fowler is gone. You've got to use Garcia at some point as a pinch hitter. You can't waste him, and Kelly's your backup catcher. You know, you maybe think about a pitcher, but they didn't do that. The bases are loaded here for the Cardinals, and our Chevy called to the pen. Just something to think about. Back with more in a moment. .84 ERA, and the bases are loaded here for the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, making it interesting here in the bottom of the 8th.
Only one left-hander in their bullpen, but the numbers that he's had against left-handed batters extraordinary. 1.3 or 135 batting average, and Colton Wong is next, and there's Greg Garcia, who would have been the pinch run possibility in the on deck circle. I'm not sure he would have scored on that ball and hit the left anyway. It's hit so hard. But there's your runners: Molina, Jerko, Piscotty. Cardinals have made this a ball game.
The reason, I guess, that you don't go to the lefty-lefty matchup here, Boxberger, the lefties 5 for 37. It's a 135 average. Long, late, and close situations. 267, triple, couple of doubles, pair of RBIs. Trying to come through late. And the 0-1. Rally caps out.
Did you say cap or cat?
How about both? One and two the count. Long base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes another. Throw to the plate. No. They hold up Jerko, and he may be hurt. He's limping back to the bag at third. The hamstring. He was grabbing it. Regardless, this game is tied at 4.
Well, Jerko doesn't need to talk to Chris Conroy. He knows what it is. He knows it's a pulled hamstring, and not a good time for this. Jerko gets a good jump, and he gets right about there and then comes up lame. That's a bad break for the Cardinals and, of course, for Jed Jerko.
Well, Rick, as we said, you are short on your bench, and so because of that, Tsunami Carlos Martinez will be your pinch runner. So 4-4 I score.
And the man at the plate, Greg Garcia, will be your third baseman. Cardinals were 45 feet away from taking the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning when the hamstring happened. Wow. Talk about a bad break. Oh, my.
And there's ball 1. Here's a 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike.
About the at bat by Colton Wong.
Terrific. Garcia hitting .279 against right-handed pitching. This game got moving so quickly, it may have gotten to the point where Kevin Cash didn't have the lefty up in time. You would want the lefty to face Greg Garcia. He's had very poor numbers this year. Garcia with a fly ball out to the left, and the catch is made. A 2-out rally. Cardinals pick up 2 runs. We've got a new game. 4-4 I score. Having some fun late here at Busch Stadium. Best for the Cardinals here recently, but one of the best in baseball are Chevy called to the pen. is a streak of 15 2/3 scoreless innings, second longest active streak in baseball. So Garcia stays in the game. He's at third base for the Cardinals. And of course, we don't know the severity of the leg issue for Jed Jerko, but someone that has been hot down in the minor leagues, close to a call-up, would be Patrick Wisdom. It's a name that you might think about. So we'll see. Give it 24 hours and see what the Cardinals want to do. If they need to go that direction. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Cardinals have been moving Aledmys Diaz around.
There's another one.
From shortstop to second, and he's played some third.
And that was his suggestion. He went to the Cardinals front office and said, I want to make myself as versatile as I can be. Let's try second and third. A lot of third base last week to 10 days. Good curveball, 2-2. Alex Colomé, closer, very good one, getting loose in Tampa's pen. And a strikeout for Lyons. Chicago now a 13-2 lead over the Phillies. That's in the bottom of the 8th.
Extra innings could create some unique problems for the Cardinals as far as how their lineup is, with Dexter Fowler, as we mentioned, not being here, being sick today, and Mike Matheny has just Carson Kelly right now to deal with on his bench, and he has his pitcher batting in the 6th spot in the lineup. Garcia stays in the game, so the pitcher spot is number 6. Jerko's out. And Mike Leake and Adam Wainwright, the 2 pitchers that you might want to see in a pinch hit role, also obviously not available.
Grounder, DeYoung backhands, uses the turf. What a play by Paul DeYoung. Another rookie that we saw earlier this season, Ricky, was Alex Mejia. That would be maybe a potential option if Jerko needs to go on the DL.
He's channeling Davey Concepcion with this play. He used to do that. Concepcion did for the Reds. He got famous with that. Instead of throwing it all the way, I'll just throw it on 1 bounce. Of course, that was often on AstroTurf. But that was in his mind to do that. That was not a mistake by DeYoung. So smooth he's become as a shortstop in a short period of time.
And now Dickerson with 2 outs. It's not only the breaking ball with Lyons, but we've seen late swings against the fastball.
Well, I think they're so conscious of the breaking ball, and I think the word's gotten out, hey, this late sharp breaking ball is tough to hit, that I think they're looking breaking ball too much, perhaps. Remember Sparky Lyle?
Oh, yeah.
The old Yankee?
Yeah.
He was slider, 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 slider. And he had about the same arm angle as Tyler has.
And the 0-2 pitch. Got him. Good work again by Lyons with a pair of strikeouts. The top of the lineup coming up for St. Louis, and a chance to win it when we come back. Carver, Pepper Martin, with their Hall of Fame earlier today. Fox Sports Midwest will bring you exclusive coverage after the game. Fox Sports Midwest telecast of the 2017 Cardinals Hall of Fame inductions, brought to you by your Mid-America Chevy dealers, tonight after the game on Fox Sports Midwest.
When's the last time we had a walk-off home run?
We had 3 walk-offs this year. Carpenter had the walk-off grand slam earlier this year. That was against Toronto, game 1 of a doubleheader. Good question.
We don't need a grand slam here.
Just need the long ball.
Yeah. I'm okay with one swing post game next.
Count me in.
And count 41,295 fans in.
0-1 pitch. This is the kind of guy that Carpenter would have some success with, this type of pitcher. Lets the ball get deep. You were talking about that earlier with Wong. Not a hard thrower. Pulled it foul, and it's 1-2. The Rays have been 8 for 8 in save opportunities in the month of August. Their bullpen had seen an average of just 177 against coming into play tonight. Put that late movement on that pitch. You know that ball's moving when a catcher knows the pitch and still misses it.
I always wondered on a ball like this, hey, why not about right now? Why just go ahead and swing at it and start running?
The 2-2. Ooh, tough pitch to take. 3-2 on Carpenter. Pitch looked pretty darn good, and it was. Carpenter. Echeverria to first. He beat it out. It's an infield hit. The blazing speed of Matt Carpenter.
You don't eat for 2 days, you get fast, apparently. How about the swing, too? He gets tied up, tries to stop it in a sense, just a little half swing. A weird play for Echeverria, and he's so good, but no chance to get Carpenter. I think his teammates like this hit. Still counts.
Line drive in the books. There's Tommy Pham, outfield very deep. Big gap in left center. Tommy Pham is grounded into 16 double plays. Tops on the team, 3 the other night. Many times it's an indication how hard you're hitting the ball too. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's a 1-1. 1-2.
You look ahead and think of the possibility of bases loaded, 2 outs in this inning, and the pitcher's spot being up. Then what do you do?
You would think Wainwright, but he's not available.
Well, I mentioned Wainwright and Leake are both not available. Those are your 2 other hitters. You've already used Tsunami to run.
Lance Lynn from the left side and a walk-off hit.
He does have a better launch angle, we're told.
Loves his launch angle from the left side. Then Kevin Cash, boy, he'd have to roll the dice and go lefty-lefty matchup there.
Well, you'd have to have Carson Kelly hit. You just have to do it.
Yep. And if need be, if you've lost Kelly, then roll the Garcia, and then you go to a pitcher playing in the field.
It's happened before.
The 2-2.
I was told recently, Dan, the time that I played right field in Philadelphia and Willie McGee played shortstop in a bad night. Willie actually had a play that day. I didn't realize that. He actually
looked it up.
We did look it up. That's right. You and I did that together.
He could do it all.
Yes, he could.
Pham, a drive, left center. Let's go on home. Walk off. Tommy Pham. Cardinals win it. Jim Hayes, take it away.
Tommy Pham, a 2-2 pitch, sends it over the wall. Take us through that at bat.
Man, he made some really great pitches on me to get to 2 strikes. And I was just telling myself, you know, to continue to fight and put a good at bat together. And I'm just thankful, man. That is fantastic.
That is fantastic. When you hit the ball, do you know it's going over the wall?
Yes. I know the feeling. You know, I'm glad I did. You know, our pitchers did a good job keeping us in the game. We fought back. Great win.
What's that feeling like when you're rounding third, knowing what you just did, and you see the team waiting to mob you?
It's hard to explain, man. It's a really great feeling, though.
Great feeling on a day where the Cardinals enshrine a new crop of Cardinal Hall of Famers. I know a lot of you guys were watching that on the monitors.
Yes, it's great to get the win on a special day like today. Man. Whew.
Tommy, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dan.
Budweiser player of the game. Thank you, Jimmy. Tommy Pham goes down to get it.
What a great thing for Tommy Pham to say, to get a big win on a big day for the St. Louis Cardinals. Hall of Fame weekend, and that was a Hall of Fame finish.
Cardinals come back late. 2 runs in the 8th to tie it 2 in the bottom of the 9th. 6-4 the final. Postgame is next.